Back with Bryan Hayes and Cheryl Pounder. The Oilers only had 2 wins in their first 9 games last year. 2 wins in their first 7 games this year. They bounced back last year, but that was thanks in large part to a 16-game winning streak. It's playing with fire to try to count on that to happen again, Cheryl. So how long before panic starts to set in now?
Well, listen, Gino, I'm sitting on the yellow light, right? If I'm at that stoplight, I am at the yellow light. And the only reason I think we're not at red is because of that historical comeback last year. As you mentioned, I mean, you have Connor McDavid, you have Leon Draisaitl, you march your way to the Stanley Cup final, you go down by 3 games, and then you make a comeback to get to that 7 games. So everyone has that in the back of their mind. Hey, we can do it. Well, you can't rest on that. The NHL is too competitive. And right now, they just look a little bit disjointed. Yeah, you can say that they should have won their last game, but it doesn't result in points, and they have to find ways to put pucks in the net, get confidence to Zach Hyman, who doesn't have a goal yet, find some chemistry, whether it is Skinner that's going to play with Draisaitl, Arvidsson. You got to find ways to bring those players together, but most importantly for me, I think to gain confidence for this group is going to be their specialty teams. And if you look at their PP right now, they're sitting 28th in the league. Yes, we're talking about the Edmonton Oilers, and their PK is sitting dead last. So I think in order to muster up some confidence, they got to start putting the puck in the net when they have the man advantage. I think that will have a trickle-down effect to 5-on-5, but they can't wait any longer. They need points. Yes, they got 2 of the best players in the world, but you can't expect a historical comeback every year.
No, exactly, Cheryl. And that's the amazing thing that's making us stop or, stop at that yellow light, like you said, is that we literally saw this last year, which is wild that they wouldn't learn from that mistake. And again, I think it's more about a big picture concern. I still have a ton of faith in the depth chart on this team, the talent. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to snap out of this stupor. But where are you going to find yourself when you get to the end of the dance, right? And like you said, what kind of details are you going to have in your game? The special teams. This power play has been historically great for a few years. It is inept right now. Stuart Skinner is still a guy that I think a lot of people are debating. Like, what are you exactly? He plays basically every day. I give him a lot of credit for that, considering what's happening with other goaltenders throughout the NHL. But his statistics are really weak. He has not looked good. They granted him a lead yesterday. Obviously, we know how that played out against Carolina. So where are you going to end up in the standings? How are you going to possibly avoid injuries if they pop up over the course of the season? It's a long year. There's a lot of different curveballs that can be thrown at you. And ultimately, if you have a poor start, or at any point over the course of the year, you have a bad 10 to 12 game stretch, that's your one time you can do that. If you want to finish with 105 points, 107 points, you get one get out of jail free card. And the Oilers, just like last year, are playing it in October.
Speaking of the yellow caution light, another game without a point for Zach Hyman. That's 7 in a row to start the season. I asked Bruce Boudreau about him, and he said he'd lean on Hyman even more to help him get going. What do you think of that, Hayes? Do you like that idea, or would you finally move him off of McDavid's wing?
No, I'm not moving him off McDavid's wing, but I don't think it's even about Hyman. It's about McDavid. I mean, this is the reality of who Connor McDavid is. And Cheryl mentioned the stats on the power play. That's where Zach Hyman is cleaned up. It's been automatic for years because McDavid and or Draisaitl and or Bouchard or whoever else is on that unit is generally going to feed him, and he's going to have tap-ins to get going. And that's what he needs right now. He needs to get to the front of the net, off his shin pad, off his skate, whatever it is, get one going and get rolling. And he's coming off that historically great year. He had 54 goals a year ago. I mean, that was always going to be untenable for me this year. He wasn't going to score 50 again, but he can't score 15. He's got to be at 30, 35, pushing up on 40. And this is as ugly of a start as it could get for Zach Hyman. 0 goals, 0 assists, gets 0 points through 7 games. And again, he can do more clearly, like Bruce Boudreau spoke to, but really, it's about the big guy. McDavid's got to get going. He has not played anywhere close to his capabilities, and he will be the one that will raise all the boats. When he starts rocking again, and I have no question that he will, believe me, Zach Hyman's production will quickly follow.
Well, yeah, and for me, I'm right with you, Hayes. I'm not moving him off of his wing either. You know that Zach Hyman is a resilient guy, and he's going to pay the price to get in and around the paint, so at some point, those points are going to drop, right? It is going to go off him. It's going to find its way to the back of the net. I still believe if that power play starts clicking and they get pucks through to the net, he's going to find ways to bank it in. I think with him, it's only a matter of time before it goes in. The confidence, he will string some together, so I ain't moving him.
All right, guys, despite all their offensive weapons dating back to last year, the Oilers have lost 75% of the games when they've given up 3 or more goals. Next up, a McDavid versus Crosby showdown on Friday night.